Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we have set number 70667. This is Kai's Blade Cycle and Zane's Snowmobile, containing 376 pieces and retailing for $29.99. This is a Ninjago Legacy set released in January 2019, based on the designs of these vehicles from Season 1 of the Ninjago Masters of Ninjago TV show. And specifically, this set is a redesign of, or a reimagining, I don't know if I would say direct redesign, of set number 9441. This is Kai's Blade Cycle, which was a $15 set back in 2012. And the Snowmobile is a redesign of the side build Snowmobile from set number 9445, which was the Fang Fire Truck Ambush. And that was a $50 set at retail value, but, you know, the Snowmobile was approximately the same size as this one is here. On the back of the box, not only do we get an image of the full set again, but we get some small images which are screen caps from the show that show these vehicles sort of in action. And you got the one up here of Kai's Blade Cycle, which I think actually this one is kind of the closest you get to what the one in the set looks like. We'll talk more about that later. Then you get a really small image of Zane's Snowmobile as well as two more of the Blade Cycle. So I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't include a larger image of the Snowmobile. But aside from the box, you do get two instruction manuals, the first of which shows you how to build the side builds in Kai's Blade Cycle, and the second one just takes you through the instructions for Zane's Snowmobile. So first up we have Kai's Blade Cycle, and this is significantly smaller in height than the 2012 version. I think lengthwise it's probably about equally as long. I'll probably do a comparison video between this and the old one. I just have to dig up my old one and figure out where I left it. But I'll do a comparison on those at some point in the future. I do think that this one looks slightly worse as far as show accuracy wise as the old one, but I do think that this one still looks decent as just a fire bike. I like the stickers here up at the front. I think that, you know, you get a good amount of flame detail there. I feel like there's a little bit too much black on this one though, and I don't know if this streak really works as black. The one image on the top of the back of the box images definitely kind of makes it look like this is a little bit more accurate. Like I can kind of see where they got the black from, but I feel like it isn't actually as dark as it appears. But regardless, I like the flame detailing. I think they got a good amount of that in there. And you got the blades, which makes sense for a blade cycle. And you got these stickers on the back as well on these panels, and it rolls really well. Kai just sits in there. There's no console or anything. He just has handlebars and a 2x2 area for him to sit in. And the special feature of this bike is that you can push these in, and out come the blades on the sides, and it kind of creates this X shape. I think that feature works pretty decently. You have to push them all in manually, but you know, it's a pretty easy feature, pretty easy to grab that area. It looks fine. It kind of exposes some of the internal sections with a lot of white, which I don't know. I don't know how well the white works. It kind of stands out a little bit too much, but I mean, other than that, I think the feature works fine, and the bike looks pretty decent on its own. Zane's Snowmobile is also a little bit less accurate in terms of colors and design than the original Zane's Snowmobile side build. I like the build of this one a little bit better. I think it is lacking the front C that goes out, because the old one used one of these pieces here, actually down on the bottom, as a part of the build. And I feel like that section of it was a little bit more accurate, but I think the back section here looks fine. It is a little bit bulky here in the center, but that's the only minor complaint I have. And I do think that this still is a cool looking thing, and I like the look of this one better than Kai's. Again, regardless of show accuracy. But you know, I think that this works pretty decently. You have these stud shooters here, which can actually be fired off by just tilting that whole, the whole mechanism, the whole side paneling section. It'll just, you'll tilt it down and it'll shoot off the studs. that works fine. And you know, the studs and stud tubers are definitely not distracting at all. I like the use of these dragon handle pieces. Those are nice, and you do have the ability to tilt this side to side and kind of bank it, and the front skid will stay on the ground at all times because it's just on a it's on a frictionless Technic pin. That's cool. Stickers here on the sides look pretty good. Sticker detailing throughout does. And Zane is designed to be able to stand here, and that, you know, gets him at a good height, makes it feel believable. And he does have a little bit of a dash print or included as part of this sticker here with just a little dial. And this back section here, you can't accidentally push it too far down and it'll restrict the motion of the back wheel. But assuming you have not done that, it rolls pretty decently for just having a single wheel and the skid on the front. And I mean, yeah, other than that, really not too much going on, as well as you do have these two clips here which are able to store your shurikens of ice. You do also get an extra set of shurikens as a spare piece, so if you didn't, or if you wanted an extra like pair of shurikens for Zane to use as weapons, you could use those as well separately. And we also have these three little side builds which just kind of help set up a little bit of scenery around the area. We do have this kind of shrine for the Sword of Fire, which, you know, this isn't really accurate to the show at all. This is just kind of a side build thrown in there. But, you know, it looks decent for a little random weapon stand. We do also get some of these purple snake pieces, which are cool to get, as well as some pipe pieces. Those just look nice. But, you know, this is fine for what it is. It adds a little bit of playability, I guess, if you want to play out a storyline where they're searching for the golden weapons. I like this lamppost in the back. I think this is the best looking of the three. It kind of carries over that Ninjago City text vibe. This one looks like it's from a more suburban place, I guess. It's kind of a little bit more rundown looking, scratched up, but the actual lamppost build itself is pretty good. And built into the base of that, there is a little bit of a chain, and you can grab that chain and you can take the other end. You can use your figures to grab it and carry it over if you like, just with the handle that's attached, and you can just go place that down on a stud. You can just get that to grab around there. You've created a little bit of a chain which ideally would kind of trip up your bike and kind of stop you from moving, which, you know, you kind of have to be holding it and then it would kind of stop there. That's kind of the plan, or kind of the play pattern that they're going for with this chain being included. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't work great. It's not super convincing, but it's a decent play feature. And then last but not least, we have this little signpost build, which just has two signs which are nicely stickered on there, and at an angle so it looks a little bit dilapidated, and behind there's just a stick of dynamite in a little box. So, you know, I think that none of these are particular draws to the set, but they add a little bit of play value and display value as well, so I don't mind them being here. And the last little item that we build up is this weird handle thing, and these were a little bit confusing, but they've actually added in a new play feature with the legacy sets, and that is this thing that when you push it along, because it has a tire there, it'll just spin around and, you know, make your figure do things. These do seem like they'll work well with the two spinner pieces, which are not included in this set, but you can just use them with a regular figure like this, and just go down the line and knock out figures, and that's a fun little feature. You can kind of move it all the way around, whatever direction you like. Gives you a good amount of maneuverability, and it kind of feels remote as well. So it's kind of replicating Spinjitzu, but without the spinner piece. And I do think that with the spinner pieces, it's a little bit less fun, because you don't actually have your weapons sticking out and able to attack enemy troops. And as far as figures go, there are no exclusives in this set, but we do get the legacy versions of Zane and Kai, and both of these can also be found in $10 spinner sets, so neither of these are a huge draw here, but, you know, they're both good-looking figures for what they are. Kind of got the dragon vibe going on with the designs for their torsos, and the masks are pretty nice. I've kind of grown to like these a little bit more. I like the gray on Zane's mask, the secondary color. I think that in particular looks pretty good, and the dark red on Kai's is not bad either. Zane's doesn't really come across too well in this lighting, unfortunately, but there you can kind of see it. And the face prints underneath are just the standard Ninjago movie facial expressions. So nothing too special there at all. But there you can see the back printing on their torsos, just a little bit better as well. Pretty good looking figures. And the two Serpentine figures that we get are also really nothing special either in particular. Spitta is a redesign of one of the 2012 Serpentine from the Venomari tribe, as is Lasha. Lasha was also redesigned in one of the junior sets from a couple years back, I think 2015 or 2016. And that one was also a different version, so this is the third version we've gotten of Lasha, second version of Spitta. And Spitta only otherwise appears in the Ultra Dragon, so an $85 set, so this is the cheapest way to get him. This is also the cheapest way to get Lasha, but Lasha also appears in the price range up from this in the $40 set, so neither of these are too crazy expensive or different or unique or special, but they're fine to build up a little army of Venomari warriors. Their leg prints are the same, and that's fine. A little bit less specialized than the original ones in that regard, where they all had special legs and torsos and heads. The back printing on both of them is pretty good. And the one thing they did that was really cool for Spitta was they brought back his original head mold. It's exactly the same as it was before. Same printing, I believe. I could be incorrect with that, but I don't think there's anything unless it's a slight difference. Lash's head print is different, but this headgear print that kind of goes over his head and makes it look like his head. That piece is the same printing as the original ones, and their weapons are nothing special at all, but they do look kind of uniform, so I guess that's a nice touch. Yeah, going solely off the contents of this set, I'm pretty happy with it. I think that, in a $30 set to get two bikes with, a good level of detail and some good play features, as well as, some side builds and some decent figures. I think 4 figures is perfectly fair for a $30 set. And I think that these builds are reasonable. It feels like $30 of stuff here. I would say each bike is probably worth maybe $10. I don't know if I would have paid $15 for just Kai's bike or just Zane's bike. But I think giving $10 of value to that is reasonable, plus, the side builds and 2 figures there. I think, I think that's a reasonable way to reach $30. And this handle thing, this is a really cool little play feature. I actually found myself liking this a lot, and this is a great little innovation for the set to bring in. And this is not the only set that has one of those throughout the whole wave. There's also a poly bag that contains one of those, as well as believe there's another Legacy set. I think it's the $10 Monastery training one. I think that one includes one of these things as well. And the Monastery contains 2 of them so that you can have 2 people battling. But this is a good way to get one of those. And it does include 2 new pieces at the end here. So this isn't something you can just build yourself with random pieces. You got to get one of the sets that includes one. And I don't know, I think that just adds a really cool little play feature to the set. And I don't know, I'm not going to stop raving about this in future reviews, but I don't think I'll get tired of getting those. I mean, maybe I will, but we'll see. But yeah, I think that as a display piece, this is pretty alright. I think that of the 2 bikes, Zane's looks cooler and probably was built cooler. I think Zane's is the better of the 2. But Kai's isn't bad. I guess Zane's a little bit more unique, and that's probably why I like it a little bit better, because we get a ton of Ninjago bikes. This one is, I'd still say it's special. I mean, it's not bad. And, that feature is kind of cool and kind of different from everything except for the previous blade cycle. But, I mean, it's not a bad set by any means. I don't know if it's the best Legacy set, but I think of the ones that I've gotten so far, this is probably my favorite. So, take that for what you will. I have not really compared these directly to the previous iterations of these vehicles from the previous sets. If you'd like to see comparison videos like that, let me know in the comment section down below, and I will work on assembling my older ones so that I can compare them up for you. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.